You're watching the Valley's most watched television station.
Well, parents have a lot to think about as the summer winds down, but getting your kids ready for school means more than new clothes and backpacks. And Dr. Michael Sevilla is here this morning with everything you need to get your kids medically ready to head back to class. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Jeff.
Well, let's look beyond the athlete's physical, because a lot of the athletes to get ready for the school activities this year have already had their physical. But what does the normal child have to go through this year to make sure that they're ready for school?
Well, I think the first thing is a lot of schools are looking towards immunizations. I think this year too, especially if kids are going into 7th grade, there's kind of a new requirement now to have a tetanus booster that was recommended by the CDC, the people that do the immunizations in the past. But I think this year they're having a requirement for that, and there's also some other immunizations too to check with the school with that.
And what's the importance of having a thorough physical exam?
Well, the importance is, more than a sports physical is, especially people who know their primary care physician, their pediatrician, their family practice doctor, to get a checkup a little bit more than the sports physical. People that know their history and to review, especially things like family history and things that have been going on, over the past year or so.
And it's important to build a history up so that you know where you were last year, where you're going for the year ahead. Is that right?
Especially if they've had some recent illnesses over the past year, if they've had some injuries, even more than sports-related injuries, to have those checked up on to make sure they're not going to be a problem down the road.
And also an immunization history as well.
Absolutely, yeah. Especially with the kids, going to school and having some immunizations required by to get into school these days.
And this is important, especially if you have a teenage child, because they're going through a transition a lot of times with puberty and so forth. Is that right? Tell us about that.
Well, a little bit, especially with teenagers. Sometimes this is the only visit that they get with a physician. And as you know, there's a lot of teenage issues now, especially with puberty, childhood obesity. That's also a major problem now. So another reason to get checked out every year.
And childhood obesity is something that you guys are really looking at this time around. Is that right?
It is. You see that the First Lady, Michelle Obama, is really pushing an initiative to get that recognized, to get that treated. So we're recognizing that as well.
And also, it's a good time to check, especially for different conditions that a student might be going through, such as like diabetes or anything like that.
Well, yeah, unfortunately, with the epidemic of obesity now, we're seeing diabetes being diagnosed younger, and we also know that there's a family history of diabetes, so getting that checked out earlier is definitely good.
All right, Dr. Sevilla, we're going to talk more with you in our next hour, especially when it comes to the athletes and those in band and stuff, that Amy's son and daughter, they're all active and everything, so we'll get on to that in the next hour. We appreciate you being here.
Thank you.